Welcome to Blackademics Learning. It's time to stir your curiosity. Blackademics Learning provides interactive curriculum to support your education. It is an offshoot of Blackademics Television, altering the media landscape. Today we are learning about framing Black history in the USA, anchored by the words of Dr. LeGarrette King from Blackademics Television Season 5, Episode 5. In this lesson, we will learn about the distinction between teaching about Black people and teaching through Black people in the history of the United States of America. First, a question. How can the statement, Black history is American history, be both true and false? Before our speaker begins, pause and reflect on what comes to mind. This idea comes directly from Dr. King's speech that you are about to see. Let's move forward with the words of Dr. LeGarrette King.
What if I tell you that Black history is not American history? For over a century, educational researchers have continued to lament that our history curriculum ignores and misinterprets Black history. Typically, the historical narratives are what we call Eurocentric. That is, telling history from a westernized or European standpoint, implying a certain superiority to those who are white, male, heterosexual, middle class, and Protestant. Even despite the improvements made in the quantitative presence of Black people in the curriculum, qualitatively, Black history has continued to be whitewashed. That is a metaphor used to explain how the curriculum silences the histories of racism, white supremacy, forms of discrimination, and inequalities experienced by people of color. In addition, the typical American history ignores the complexities of being Black, instead closely associating the histories of Black Americans to those who are white. Whitewashing rarely takes into account the nexus between history and the contemporary circumstances and material realities of Black people. An example of whitewashing is how the history of slavery is told. Black history, within the notions of children's literature, plays a major role in the classroom, particularly in elementary settings, since elementary social studies is not taught. Take, for instance, the children's literature book, A Birthday Cake for George Washington, which is a fictionalized story about George Washington's Black enslaved chef, Hercules. The story is narrated by Hercules' daughter, Diala, who also worked alongside him in the kitchen. And while the book provides some humanistic qualities of Black joy and enslaved families that are rarely taught, the literature does miss some aspects of slavery. At one point in the book, it talked about the missing ingredients. Hercules was making a cake and the missing ingredients of sugar, and that Hercules masterfully decided to use honey instead. Now, if you are a dessert connoisseur like your boy here, you know the difference between a dessert with sugar and dessert that does not have sugar, all right? Now, while we're laughing in here, let's put ourselves back into kind of the enslavement period, right? What if the cake wasn't tasteful? As an enslaved chef, what if the cake was not tasteful? Punishment may have ensued for Hercules and his family, maybe in the form of racial violence, maybe in the form of selling one's family member, or the loss of social status. Because as we know in real life, everything wasn't good at the Washington plantation, as Hercules did escape on Washington's 65th birthday. So what's the problem? For one, in our schools, the structure of our curriculum favors teaching history instead of the various different histories that make our country diverse. Now, history indicates a singular narrative, and that singular narrative defaults to the Eurocentric white male model of history. Second, from that history, we rarely teach Black history. Now, yes, the historical narratives might include Black people, But what we do mostly is teach about Black people and not through Black people. There's a difference. What we tend to do is continue to teach the same Eurocentric history frameworks, and we attempt to add others to that framework.
Now let's process that piece of Dr. King's presentation. In the storybook that Dr. King discusses, how did the book recast a moment of potential danger for an enslaved person into a moment of supposed joy? In what ways do current curriculum designs exclude the histories of marginalized communities? Think and write about these two questions to process your thoughts and discuss them with other learners. Feel free to use the vocabulary list included in the description below this video. You can also rewind and review Dr. King's words as much as you need to. The children's book tells a story about happy enslaved people by erasing the inhumane, life-threatening circumstances that Hercules and his family lived with every day as property of George Washington. There is no reference to the possible danger that Chef Hercules would eventually run away from to be free. Dr. King explains how current curriculum designs exclude the histories of marginalized communities by telling singular, Eurocentric narratives that technically include Black people, but without offering their authentic perspectives, experiences, voices, and considerations. Blackademics Learning thanks Dr. LeGarrette King, and thank you for your attention and for engaging with our interactive curriculum to support your education. This supplemental lesson is designed to enhance your thinking and learning. It is not designed to be your official or exclusive lesson on this topic. Want more of our guided lesson plan? Please click on the description box below for the entire guided lesson plan. Please comment below, hit thumbs up to like this video, and subscribe to our channel, Blackademics Learning. Until next time, stir your curiosity. Goodbye.